Hello, everybody. Well, we truly do find ourselves into what has now become a cliche to say unprecedented times. And I wanted to share a couple of thoughts about how to handle what's going on at the moment from a couple of different perspectives. At the moment, as you well know, we have had a lot of people who've lost their jobs very unexpectedly. We've had businesses that have gone through an unprecedented week and month, etc. And also we've had stock markets fall. That of course has a knock-on effect on everybody who has either savings or other investments in their future, and a range of other different things as well. And we are very much in an environment where we don't know what's going to happen, we don't know how long it's going to last, and from that point of view it can be actually very difficult to figure out what to do on a day-to-day basis. So I wanted to come back to you with 5 things that I've been focusing on, but also that I think would be very helpful, hopefully, at this stage, given and being very cognizant of the uncertainty that we have. The first thing that I want to start off with is, if you are working on a project that isn't affected by the virus and that isn't affected by the economic change, put your head down and get stuck right into it. Turn off the news and treat this and every other day as a normal working day. There's things that we're doing where, you know, life is going on as normal, but it's so easy to get distracted by the constant Twitter feed that has lots of news updates, or by constantly refreshing your phone or reading those WhatsApp messages that have no basis behind them. Whatever it is, just turn it all off and just root your feet into the ground. Get very grounded, put your head down, and just convince yourself that it's a normal working day. And then at the end of the day you can go back into trying to figure out all the madness that's going on around us. But I do really want to make that point, is that, you know, it's easy to get distracted. It's easy to get distracted by a lot of what's going on, and really from the point of view of your own job and your own sanity and that of the ongoing economy around you, is that it's important to do what you can. And if things aren't being affected, if there's projects you're working on, just really and truly focus on doing those, getting them finished, getting them out there, delivering as well as you can, and try to keep business as normal as possible. The second thing that I want to mention is, we can get very afraid that the next call we're going to get is yet another client who's going to cancel something. Try to be proactive. Just think about, okay, they've got an awful lot going on. Every client that you have right now is currently trying to firefight and figure things out. Try to bring value to them by thinking through and being proactive towards their problems. So what is it that they're facing that you might be able to help with? So again, to give a very simple example, any company that we've been working with from a training point of view over the next couple of weeks, I have said to them, right, we will deliver everything online. And not alone will we deliver everything online, we will make sure that it's engaging, we will leverage different tools. And if they have other training that's going on where the other respective trainers need help in figuring out how to do that, we will help them with that as well. So just think through, what is it that what problem is your client going through at the moment, whereby they could really do with your expertise, your forward thinking, your proactivity, so that rather than wait for a problem to knock at your door, or not something else to be cancelled, just try to think, okay, what could we do a little bit differently? I've seen a range of restaurants, for example, who've had to close their doors, are now saying, okay, but we could do a takeaway service. Just try to think, what can I help with? What can I do? And in some cases it'll be paid, and in some cases it won't. But this won't go on forever. It can't go on forever. We know that. We know that in every other single health crisis that has gone on in the history of the universe, we know that this will not go on forever. So therefore all of kindness and goodwill will be responded and be reciprocated to later on. The third thing that I wanted to mention is something that I did on Monday, is that I sat down at our online banking and I paid every single supplier that had an invoice into us right away. The reason is that's what we need to do to keep the economy going. And sometimes you may be thinking, okay, I'm not really sure if we can afford this. And I know that's going to cross your mind. I really, really do. But when you can, right, when you can, treat other people like you would like to be treated. If there's people who have got bills into you, just pay them and move them on. And yes, also you need to do a cash flow analysis looking into the next couple of months, because that will be what will dramatically reduce anxiety. Is that you may think, okay, look, if I just don't look at it, it's not there. It's not as easy as that. If you put together a cash flow analysis of the next couple of months, figure out when you think you're going to get paid for work that's already done, or when you're going to be billing for things that are yet to happen, and you may wonder whether they will happen, but just put all of your thoughts into a cash flow analysis. And what that simply is, it's on a spreadsheet. Document what is going to be paid and when you think it will be paid, and then add that on to your current bank balance and take away what you need to pay out. That's all it is. It's a very, very simple thing to do, but it's a real dramatically, it will reduce your anxiety, because even if you do think that you're not going to be able to handle everything, at least now you'll be in a proactive position. Maybe you need to go to your bank, maybe you need to have current conversations with people who you need to pay in the future. Maybe you need to restructure things, but at least you know what's actually ahead of you if you're aware of that. So that is something that really, really matters. I want to tell you a quick story about the economy just to explain the importance of what I've just said, and that is that, let's say that I went to a hotel and I said, I think I'm going to stay here this evening, but I'd like to take a look at the room beforehand. And they say, okay, but we want you to put a €50 deposit first. And I'd say, okay. So I give them the €50 deposit, and then the person I'm dealing with runs out the door, goes across to their butcher and says, look, we had an order of meat that we didn't pay for last week. I want to give that to you now, and here's the €50 for it. And then they say, great. Then they run up to the fruit and veg shop and they say, look, well, we needed vegetables for some marinades that we've been putting together. We didn't get a chance to pay for that last week. Here you go. And then the fruit and veg shop goes over to the restaurant across the road and says, well, we are actually planning to have a staff lunch here in the next couple of days, and I want to pay this in advance. Here's your €50. And they say, thanks a million. And then they go over to the hotel and they said, here is the €50 that we owed you from something that we had to get catering from last week. Then I come down the stairs and I say, actually, you know what, I've had a call, I need to go back, I won't be able to stay here tonight, can I have my €50 back? And they say, yeah, there you go. Everybody's been paid, but no new money was created. You see, the thing about the economy is it's not about the amount that we have, it's about the speed that it moves. That's called the velocity of money. You can check that out as a technical term. That's what the economy is made of. That's what's dramatically being slowed down at the moment. So the point is that when you pay for things right now, is that money is going an awful lot further and it's going an awful lot faster than if it would normally. And similarly, there's an awful lot of money that isn't moving at all, and that's what's affecting the economy. That's what's creating the job losses, and unfortunately that is what may extend. And that's why it's so important how businesses respond to the government stimuli that will hopefully be put in place right around the world. But my point is try to keep the economy going. Either try to pay out as fast as you can for people who you owe money to, and the other thing is try to keep people as economically productive as possible. Teach other people how they can make money by, let's say, adapting their skill sets, or show them training online about how that can become more employable. Or one thing that I've seen a lot of is a lot of people now are trying to figure out, how do we have productive meetings online? You know, if you can show people how to do these things, either learn how to do them yourself or show other people, then it means that they become economically more productive as well in these uncertain times, and that, as I say, will truly come back to you. Another thing I want to mention to you, the fourth thing, is get the information that you need. Okay, it's so easy to just get thrown around the place by all that's happening, and of course it's very sensational, and it is there's an awful lot of change happening, and it's very dramatic, and yes, it feels like we're in a movie, but go to where you're going to get a lot of good information. For example, the HSE is where you should go as regards health related information. Go to the Department of Business and Innovation and Enterprises, what it would be in Ireland, but go to the equivalent, whether it is a Chamber of Commerce or whether it is a government department, about the supports that are being put in places for business. Also, there's a lot of individuals who I see sharing some great information. Louise O'Connor has been sharing a lot around remote working. Irish Times Training are running a series of webinars for businesses, and particularly around training, how you can move your training online. Muneer Development Services is running a webinar about applying for social welfare if you find yourself in an unexpected job loss. Also, of course, Caroline McHenry has been doing such great public service and sharing insights for employers who are finding themselves in very difficult positions as a result of what has been going on, and what are their rights and responsibilities to their staff. So all of those are sharing an awful lot of good information, so please do check them out and just see what it is. Get the information that you need, glean what you need, separate the wheat from the chaff here. And the last thing that I'll say is that it's also important to consider what's going to happen afterwards. I'm not really sure that we're going to go back to the world that we knew. There's going to be a lot of change in many ways, some good and some, challenging, but it is important to start thinking, okay, how do we need to adapt our business in line with what we've learned? We've learned an awful lot of lessons very, very quickly in the past week. What is it that we need to do? How are we going to go back to the market? How is my business going to be more robust in the future? Or how can I do things differently? Like, use the time to think about that. For the last 10 years, you've probably been saying you haven't had enough time. Now you do. And the last thing is, I'm recording this from the streets of Cork because I'm down here at home with Mum and Dad for a couple of days. I'm doing everything online for the moment, so I decided to take the opportunity and spend some time with them. Just also, this is time to spend time with the people that you love, whether it's digitally or in person, and make sure that you take that time and be cognizant that hasn't maybe always been available to you, and it is now. So don't waste it either. Don't waste these next couple of weeks, uncertain as they are, by simply not taking the time that you can spend with loved ones as well. Thank you, and every best wish along the way. Call me if I can do anything.